I suck at Redstone, and that's why every day for the next 15 days, I'm going to make it my goal to learn something new with Redstone. And hence, I am, as of today, starting a 15-day Redstone build challenge. Okay, what am I doing today? Well, today I want to learn how these things work, the comparator. There's a lot of things you can do with them, and I quite frankly don't know all the uses. So today I'm going to walk through everything that I can think of that can be done with them, and then go on the wiki and find other things and try and explain them, because I am out of content. Okay, let's start with the most commonly known property of comparators, measuring block states. Now, comparators can measure several different objects in the game and basically tell you information about them based on their redstone output signal. So on this lectern here, I have a book with 15 pages, and for each page of this book, it will put out an increasing signal strength from 1 to 15 because it has 15 pages. Now, there's some whole math that goes into it if you're using less than 15 pages, so keep that in mind, I guess. But let's say I go to page 7, or, well, no, yeah, 7, and I look out over here, we'll see it goes 1 lantern, 2 lantern, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 lanterns, which means we have a signal strength out here to 7. Now, this also works with other items to different effect. For example, if you take a composter and you start filling it up with flowers, it will, for every state, add more on. And composters can only go up to 8 output strength, but I hope that gets that idea across. This also works with chests based on their the fullness of the chest. So if I just go and I start putting my wood in this chest here, we'll see that lights up, and according to roughly how much is in the chest. When it's a full chest, they should all light up. It'll be the max output strength. But if I just start taking them away, you can see it's already decreased in signal strength. Okay, next thing. Okay, so let's talk about the next feature. Now, this next feature is kind of where the comparator gets its name, because this is comparing signals. So, essentially, your comparator, on the side it takes the signal in from, that is being compared to what is coming in from the other sides of the comparator. Now, for example, I have this right now set to 13 signal strength. The signal I'm providing over here from the right side of this comparator going into the side is a signal strength of 13. Because it is greater than or equal to that value, I am getting out my 13 signal strength power. It'll always give out whatever signal strength you put in. For example, if I put in 14, I now get a 14 out. However, if I all of a sudden drop to 12, well, now my input is less than my comparison value, and so I get nothing. I don't get anything at all. Now, let's say I have, a second line hooked up on this other end here. Well, if I flick this lever, it turns it all off. It's taking whichever one is higher, and that is really what it's comparing it to. Now, if I turn both of them off, you can see that I can run through any value in the book, and it'll do just the same. But the second I flip on our comparison, it's gone. Okay, now this is the last key function of the comparator. This is subtraction mode. Subtraction mode is active whenever this little torch here in the back is clicked on. So as you can see, I have this powered to 1. They're all set at 1 right now. When I click this off, it goes into compare mode, and it's comparing now. But the second I click it on, it's subtraction mode. It's taking the 1 and the 1, it's subtracting them to equal 0, so I get 0 signal out. If I come in here and I set this to 2, 1 minus 2 is 1. Now, you'll notice I have 2 on either side. They're both set to 1. It takes whichever one is higher. If I set this one to 2, and I set this one to 2, and I set this one to 3, or that's not 3, that's 4. Okay, so 2, 2, and 4. As you can see, I still get 2 out. It's not like they're compounding together. Now, this can be done for a number of different values, all the way up. Just you put in your number, so right now it's at 11 in here. It's at 2 in here. 11 minus 2 comes out to 1, 2, 3. Well, it should come out to 9, which that is 9 right there. And yep, that is how the subtraction mode works. Congratulations, viewer, you made it this far. It's bonus round time. Now you may be wondering, what the heck is this thing? Well, you see, this is a special little circuit I've whipped up here that will not turn on until a signal strength of 13 is picked up. But once it hits that 13, it will not turn off until a signal strength of below 4 is received. So for example, if I just open this book up real quick, and I just, say I go to 12, okay? Nothing's happened at 12. 13, they all went on up to 13. Now, what's happening here is that once we hit 13, the comparison was basically able to override and turn them all on. But whenever we go back, because we haven't hit the point where we turn off the connection to the redstone torch, we don't override the comparison. So go to 4, we're still powering our redstone torch, so this line that is the comparison is still 0, but the second we go to 3, now the comparison is back at 13. So we're comparing 13 and 3, which isn't going our way. Now, but we go back to 13, and all of a sudden, it was able to overcome, put out the 13 signal, and turn off its comparison. So we can use this to kind of modulate back and forth between a certain value level, and if we fall below our turn-off value there, it all turns off, and we have to get all the way back up before we can turn on again. Now, I've come up with a little bit of a way here that we can show the usage of this, how it might be used actually in a circuit. Let's say we put some diamonds in a chest here, and we want to make sure that, no thieves come about and take them all. Well, let's say we have a limit of how many we're allowed to see stolen, and at some point we're down to say, 5 signal strength left worth of stuff, and we're fine with losing 18 stacks of diamonds. That's normal. We just restock them and it goes back up. Cool. But the second we drop below the value which we turn off, it all turns off, and then you could maybe set that up to trigger an alarm or something. Just throwing that out there. Cool. That is all I have for that. That is the bonus round. Find some way to make it useful. I can't think of any ways to make it any more useful. That's the video. Subscribe if you learned something.